I'm Jim Chandler from the University of Chicago, and let me say first that I'm very grateful to have a chance to speak about Jane on this occasion. Jane Taylor was a dazzling, irrepressible, and utterly singular presence in all of our lives. I thought the world of her, and I can't believe she's gone, a loss that hits hard, even from this distance. I got to know Jane in the late 1990s in Chicago, and I was one of her fans at the University of Chicago, along with Norma Field, Bill Brown, Braden Cormack, David Levine, and David Nierenberg. And we all sought ways for her to teach and work with us there. After she moved away in 2012, I saw her in Leeds 2 or 3 times, back in Chicago, and then most recently in Cape Town on successive visits, including the 2018 visit for the conference, the Humanities Improvise, where I had the great pleasure to introduce the extraordinary plenary she staged around a performance by her friend Tony Miambo as Red Peter. She was off to Basel when I returned to Cape Town in 2019, a mischance I now regret more than ever. I recently went back to the documentary of that 2018 conference made by our hosts at the University of Western Cape to see snippets of Jane in action. But I've also reread what survives of my correspondence with her, nearly 300 emails since 2012. For all Jane's accomplishments as a fiction writer, critic, librettist, thinker, maker, performer, many of you know well that she was also an extraordinary correspondent. To remind you of that witty and vibrant epistolary voice, and maybe to give a little inside history of Jane's life in a key transition from Chicago to Leeds to her return to the University of Western Cape, I want to read a few email snippets from a key 6-month period in her life. So, December 21st, 2012. I am in discussions with Leeds. I hope you don't mind that I have given your name as a reference. Would you mind telling them that I'm invaluable? December 28th. I have been reading Wollstonecraft's diatribe against Burke. What an anti-theatrical rant it is. Someday we will have to chat about you and your romantics. February 4th, 2013. She's working on a piece about Lionel Trilling for the Oxford Encyclopedia of Aesthetics. I have so enjoyed swimming in his gorgeous prose again. The work on Freud really moves me. Also his assessment of the autobiographical imperative to reveal all. That's what J.M. picks up in his work on Rousseau. By the way, I have just been given a proof copy of J.M.'s new novel, The Childhood of Jesus. I will report on it once I have done with Trilling. April 7th, 2013, from Donegal. I am watching a vast Irish clan recover from the outrages of a Donegal wedding at the Redcastle Hotel, with a blue sky and snow-clad hills on the shoreline. All of it was wonder. Women in bordello outfits, men in 3-piece gray suits, and so much storytelling, fiddling, Irish dancing, weeping and laughing, and drinking and drinking and drinking until 5 a.m., drinking as political action, but so generous and warm and embracing of an outsider. So much sense of history and the rebel songs that come out at 4 a.m., and a Skyping of a cousin fugitive in Philadelphia who can't return because of some immigration infraction, and hopes of amnesty, etc., etc. We who are emptied of history watch the historical ties with wonder. May 27th, 2013. I am writing to provoke a piece of thinking on behalf of Pramesh Lalu from the University of the Western Cape. They are launching a big aesthetics and politics initiative. May 30th, 2013. There is a strong sense of trauma in South Africa at present, as I think there is everywhere. And then June 10th, on the death of her dog, Thisbe. The world is charged with the grandeur of dog. it will flame out like shining from shook foil. Thisbe, 6 June 1999 to 10 June 2013. Later, on that same day, clearly still mourning Thisbe, she writes, I have discovered that there are Ryanair flights from Stansted to Perugia for £29. So those gray skies may not be so oppressive. I am going to teach a course on Moliere's Imaginary Invalid in order to look at the history of hypochondria. Here, Coleridge is really the interesting figure. Within a year, of course, things were underway for her to move to the University of Western Cape. In June of 2014, she wrote, I had dinner at Primesh's last night. How we gabbled about the world. He tells me the two of you had riotous fun together on your global junket. I hope he left you in a viable condition. The world in its darkness nearly defeated Jane during the ensuing years, dominated as they were by Trump and his global counterparts. So let's skip forward 5 years to January 24th, 2019. She writes, Here we watch state capture with incredulity. There you do the same. It is an awful time when one watches Ozark for moral instruction. I say it almost defeated her because she goes on to say, and yet the students are wonderful and making continues to beguile. I was in Basel for the first time last year. Do you know it? I am going back in June to be in conversation with William at Art Basel. That trip to Basel is why I missed Jane in Cape Town that year. And it was, of course, on a return trip to Basel that she suffered her debilitating stroke, which also prevented her from coming back to Chicago for a year at the Newberry Library as she had been planning. I'm grateful we got to Zoom once during her long recovery from that stroke. She was almost herself, but I'm even more grateful to have the consolation not only of her correspondence with me, but also of the marvelous body of published work on so broad a range of subjects she gave to the world. From Kentridge's Leading Nose to Barnard's Transplanted Hearts, from the journeys of Alfred Wallace to the mysteries of Conan Doyle, from the mechanisms of puppetry to the immortality of the soul. Her own soul was, is, as large as they come.